The doors slid open with a hiss, and the smell hit them. First, burnt metal, blood, fear. Commander Varan of the Genetic Elite stepped into the human space station, flanked by 6 of his best warriors. Their boots clanked against the steel floor. Echoing through the empty halls, the hangar bay was silent. Too silent. And then they saw it. Blood. Smears of it, thick, dark red, dragged in long streaks across the floor. No bodies, no signs of battle. Just silence and the aftermath of something. Violent. Something personal. One of the aliens knelt beside a crushed helmet, human-made. But it wasn't broken by weapons. No scorch marks, no plasma burns. Just raw force, like something had grabbed it and squeezed. This wasn't done by a soldier. Varan growled, eyes scanning the shadows. This was something else. His gums crackled. Team 3 is gone. No signal, no trace. Gone in less than 5 minutes? Varan raised a clenched fist. The squad froze. The lights above flickered once. Then again, a scraping sound echoed. From the far end of the bay, everyone turned. Nothing there. Varan's second-in-command whispered, "We trained on Class 12 Deathworlds. No environment, no creature, no human can match our strength." Varan didn't answer. His eyes were locked on the wall ahead, where someone had scrawled words in blood. "Cleanup complete." Silence. Then slam. A door shut behind them, sealed. The lights cut out. And somewhere in the dark, someone whispered, calm and steady, "You've made a mess. Now I'm here to clean it up." Mark pushed the mop slowly across the floor, earbuds in, music humming low. The human station floated in deep space, far from Earth, quiet and routine. He was just the janitor. At least, that's what everyone thought. Crew members walked past him all day, barely noticing. Some smiled, others ignored him completely. Mark didn't care. He liked it that way. But today felt different. The lights flickered twice. Mark looked up. His expression didn't change, but his hand tightened slightly on the mop handle. Then the alarm blared, red lights flashing, steel shutters slamming down. A voice shouted over the station intercom. "Unauthorized boarding detected. All personnel, evacuate immediately." Screams. Running footsteps. Chaos. Mark didn't move. He unplugged his earbuds. Silence filled the hallway now, except for the distant sound of airlocks hissing open. He set the mop aside and walked into the storage room. Inside was a small metal locker with a faded Earth military symbol. He opened it. Inside, a folded black uniform, a steel case, and a strange-looking device shaped like a cleaning tool, but heavier. Mark pulled off his jumpsuit. Underneath were scars, dozens of them, across his chest, arms, and back. Deep, old wounds. He strapped the device to his back and stepped into the hallway. From down the corridor came heavy stomps. Alien boots. Mark didn't flinch. He whispered to himself, voice low and cold, "I told them not to come here. Now they'll learn what Class 15 really means." Commander Varan stood in the center of the operations deck, scanning the schematics of the human station. His face was cold, unreadable. Around him, his squad of Janitor-class warriors moved in perfect formation, trained killers from one of the galaxy's deadliest Deathworlds. Secure the power core. Take their data. Kill anything that moves. Varan ordered. They moved out without a word. The Genetic weren't ordinary soldiers. They were born in the fires of Class 12, a Deathworld. With gravity 10 times Earth's, storms of acid rain, and predators that hunted in packs of 50. Only the strongest survived. Only the smartest left, but even they had limits. One warrior, Korth, chuckled as he kicked open a door. "Humans, weak little apes playing war." Another nodded. "This station is a joke. Where's their security? Where's the fight?" They didn't see the shadow watching from above, silent, unmoving. Back on the deck, a young officer pulled up a file marked Class 15 Deathworld status, red level. He blinked. "Sir, Class 15 is worse than ours. Varan turned. Impossible. No world is harsher than 12. The officer scrolled down. Reading aloud. Surface temperature swings of 200 degrees. Hyper-evolution. Permanent biological warfare. Native species adapt to kill anything. Average human survival time without training. 4 hours. The room went silent. Then another voice spoke softly from the darkness of the hallway. Survival time for me? A pause. Unlimited. Blaster fire lit the corridor, but the figure was already gone. Varen's hand hovered over his blade. For the first time in years, he felt it dashed out in the dim glow of the command center. Korth hacked into the stations. Secure servers. His fingers moved quickly over the alien interface, breaking firewalls and scrambling codes. Let's see what secrets Earth hides. He muttered. Suddenly, a file popped up on the screen. Project Janitor. It was locked. High-level clearance. Required. Korth smirked and bypassed the security with ease. The file opened. The screen filled with images of Mark the janitor. But this wasn't the clean-faced worker everyone thought he was. Pictures showed Mark training with weapons, running through brutal obstacle courses on a planet scorched by constant storms. His face was scarred and hardened. His eyes, cold and focused. The file read, Subject, Mark 7, Earth War Cores, Classified Experiments on Survival Enhancement, Deathworld 15 Training Program. Korth leaned closer. A video played. Mark was in a combat simulator, moving faster than humanly possible. His hands crushed metal bars like twigs. His reflexes were sharp, almost superhuman. The video ended with a warning. Mark 7 is classified as a weapon. Engage with extreme caution. Korth's grin faded. Why didn't they tell us about this? Varen's voice came from behind. Because they want you to underestimate him. The lights flickered again. Korth glanced nervously around. He's not just a janitor. He's a weapon built to survive Deathworld 15. Suddenly, a noise echoed from the dark hallway, a soft scraping, like a broom against metal. The team tensed. A voice crackled over the comms, cold and clear. You've uncovered too much. Now, it's time to pay. The team moved cautiously through the station's twisting corridors. Their boots clanked loudly in the silence. Every shadow seemed to watch them. Suddenly, the lights flickered and then went out. Darkness swallowed the hall. A cold voice came over the comms, low and steady. You shouldn't have come. Korth cursed, clicking on his helmet's night vision. The green glow lit up the walls, but only a few feet ahead. Split up, Varan ordered, voice sharp. Find him. The squad spread out, weapons ready. The silence was broken only by the soft hum of their scanners and the distant drip of water. Then, a scraping noise came from the ceiling, slow, deliberate. A flash of movement above them, too. Fast to see clearly. One alien screamed. Lights suddenly surged back on. Varan turned, but the squad was missing Korth. They found his helmet on the floor, cracked. No sign of him. Where is he? Varan demanded. A soft clang echoed behind them. They spun. Mark stood there, mop in hand, face calm but fierce. No more running, Mark said. His voice was quiet but full of power. The aliens raised weapons. Mark's mop shifted, metal segments unfolded. Glowing blue plasma sliding into place. The janitor smiled. Time to clean. Mark stood tall in the middle of the corridor, his mop now transformed into a glowing plasma staff. The alien warriors stared, unsure if they faced a janitor or a weapon. Do you know why Deathworld 15 doesn't send soldiers? Mark asked quietly. Because we don't need to. Varan narrowed his eyes. What do you mean? You're just a cleaner. Mark's lips curled into a cold smile. I'm what Deathworld 15 created when soldiers weren't enough. He stepped forward, his staff humming with power. The aliens raised their weapons, firing. Plasma bolts sizzled. against the walls as Mark moved with impossible speed, deflecting blasts with his staff like it was a shield. He spun, smashing the staff into the nearest alien's armor. The sound of cracking metal echoed. One warrior lunged, claws extended. Mark caught the wrist mid-air, twisted, and threw the alien hard against the wall. The corridor filled with the sounds of battle grunts, crashes, and the hum of the plasma. Staff slicing through steel. Varon watched carefully. Realizing this human wasn't just fast, he was lethal. Mark's moves were precise. A deadly dance perfected by years of survival on the harshest world in the galaxy. "You think your Class 12 strength matters here," Mark said, dodging another attack. "On Deathworld 15, you learn to kill without strength." Varon growled. "Then show me what Deathworld 15 made." Mark's eyes gleamed. "Gladly." He charged. The fight had only just begun. Mark moved like a shadow through the narrow corridors, his plasma staff humming quietly. 12 alien warriors surrounded him, but none dared close the distance too fast. They were strong, trained on Class 12 Deathworlds, bred to kill. But Mark was something else. He was faster, smarter, and more ruthless. One alien charged, swinging a massive blade. Mark ducked, then slammed his staff into the alien's knees. The warriors screamed and collapsed. Another fired a plasma rifle. But Mark twisted behind cover and launched a blast that sent the alien crashing into a wall. The air filled with the sounds of battle metal clashing, grunts, and the sharp hiss of plasma. Varon watched from a distance, his eyes narrowing. "He's more than a janitor, he's a storm." Mark didn't just fight with his staff. He used the environment flipping switches to drop heavy crates, smash in pipes to spray scalding steam. The aliens grew desperate, attacking faster and harder. But Mark was calm. He flipped forward, landing behind Varon's second-in-command. With a quick strike, the alien went down silently. Only Varon remained. Mark's breath was steady. His eyes burned with quiet fury. "You should have stayed away," Mark said. Varon growled, drawing a blade that crackled with energy. The final battle was about to begin. Varon stumbled backward, his energy blade glowing fiercely in his hand. Mark stood calm, mop-turned staff steady in his grip. "Why do you fight like this?" Varon hissed, breathing hard. "What is Deathworld 15? Mark's eyes darkened. "Deathworld 15 is not just a place. It's a trial, a curse, a prison." He took a slow step forward. "The world is a nightmare, constant storms, poisonous air, deadly creatures that evolve faster than you can blink." Varon's face twisted in disbelief. "Your people survive that?" Mark nodded. "Not just survive, we adapt. We become something stronger, something that refuses to die." Varon's second-in-command gasped from the floor, barely conscious. "But that means he's not just a man." "No," Mark said. "He's the weapon Earth built when soldiers weren't." Enough. The hallway shook suddenly, an earthquake, caused by the planet's violent core. Dust fell from the ceiling. Mark raised his staff. "I was trained there, broken there, forged to be the last line of defense." Varon snarled, tightening his grip on the blade. "You're a monster," Mark smiled grimly. "I'm a survivor." Before Varon could attack, the station's alarm blared, warning of incoming reinforcements. Mark's eyes flicked to the exit. "You won't leave here alive." Varon tightened his energy blade, the hum growing louder and sharper. His breathing was heavy, face slick with sweat. Across the corridor, Mark stood calm, his plasma staff glowing steadily. Slowly, Mark reached up and pulled off his janitor jumpsuit. Underneath was a battle-worn uniform, black, armored, marked, with faded scars and tattoos. Across his chest, the symbol of Earth's war god cores glinted faintly. "I am not what you think," Mark said quietly. "I'm the exile of Earth's deadliest warriors." Varon snarled, charging forward with a roar. Mark met him head-on, plasma staff clashing with energy blade. Sparks flew. The ground shook with their battle. Varan swung wildly, but Mark moved. With grace and precision, every strike calculated, every dodge perfect. The corridor became a storm of flashing lights, metal crashing, and the roar of two warriors locked in deadly combat. Varan's strength was immense, but Mark's skill was unmatched. Slowly, Varan faltered. With a final swift move, Mark disarmed him, sending the energy blades skidding across the floor. Varan dropped to his knees, breathing hard. Defeated. Mark stood over him, staff pointed at Varan's throat. "This fight is over," Mark said, voice steady. Varan glared up, chest heaving. Mark lowered his staff. "Remember this day, the day Deathworld 15 cleaned up Class 12. The battle was over." Silence filled the empty corridors of the station. Mark lowered his plasma staff and took a deep breath. The mop, now just a mop again, rested lightly in his hand. He looked around at the quiet space, the walls scarred, the floor stained with blood and dust. New crew members arrived, stepping carefully through the door. They paused, eyes wide at the scene. One young technician whispered, "Who is he?" "The janitor." An older engineer smiled faintly. "That's no janitor. That's Deathworld 15's last survivor." Mark nodded slightly and started walking down the hallway, mop in hand. The station was his home, his battleground, and his secret. He cleaned up the mess, not just the blood, but the chaos left behind by those who thought they could invade. The newcomers watched silently, sensing something powerful in the quiet man who cleaned floors and fought wars. Mark glanced back once, eyes sharp. "Deathworld 15 doesn't raise soldiers," he said softly. "It creates monsters, and sometimes those monsters are the only thing standing between survival and extinction." He pushed the mop forward, steady and calm. The station was clean again, for now.